2 days ago, Prime Minister of Pakistan, he made a deal with all major groups of different sects, and he said that he's going to announce a day of forgiveness, because this is apparently happening, of due to the wrongdoings of humans. And then he also said that this is an Islam-friendly decision for the government to and the clergy to decide that mosques should remain open. And there are other instances when he has said that we are going to fight this crisis with the power of faith. And there have been prime time shows in local media where a lot of journalists have talked about how this is nothing less than God's wrath of wrongdoings of people.
Umair, let me ask you on this. How do Pakistanis feel about the fact that Saudi Arabia, home to Islam's holiest sites, is taking this very seriously, shutting mosques, talking about canceling the Hajj?
Well, it's a very interesting point, and this has been discussed for a week now, because going to Saudi Arabia is there's a lot of awareness what happened in Saudi Arabia in terms of pilgrims and in terms of how close Saudi Arabia is with Pakistan, and with majority of population being from Wahhabi background, there's a lot of association and connectivity. So this question remains a question in Pakistan, because whenever you say to someone that because Saudi Arabia has closed one of the holiest sites of Islam, why cannot this happen in Pakistan? And you go to the government, and I'm sure they want to close the mosque, but then they don't actually have people in power. They don't actually have power. The power in Pakistan resides with the clergy. And they announced more than 2 weeks ago that not only they're going to keep the mosque open, but they also prepared a document to send to Saudi Arabia that it's not a good decision to close the mosque or the holiest sites in Islam. So there's a clash of who actually controls the state in Pakistan. And unfortunately, the government, it's been called a consensus, but it has, I would call it a capitulation. And same is happening with Afghanistan. The mosques are open and everything is being prepared for the next 1 month. And in Pakistan, the government, with the help of clergy yesterday, they prepared a document which is going to, I think it's going to be handed to the Saudi embassy in Pakistan, which highlights 20-point action plan to keep mosques open, but with some precautions. So I think that's the kind of messaging which is being being suggested and is going on in Pakistan.
Abdul-Rehman Malik, your reaction to what you've just heard Umair Jamal say, which is that, well, effectively, political authorities in Pakistan deferring to religious authorities.
I mean, what Umair describes is really frightening, and for all kinds of reasons. And my family hails from Pakistan as well. Umair, I have family in Lahore and Multan, Rawalpindi, Islamabad, and members of my family have been deeply concerned, and like your family, have been social distancing and isolating. And I think in many ways they feel not only deeply let down by religious authorities, who they didn't really trust in the first place, to be honest, but they feel really let down by the political administration in Pakistan. And there's some dark humor that's come out of all this. I'm sure you've heard it yourself, Umair, in the WhatsApp chats and so on. Pakistani ulama, particularly from across sectarian lines, the Obandi and Barelvi and Ahl Hadith, they never agree on anything, but all of a sudden they've agreed on this. And I think what's concerning is that across the rest of the Islamic world, as Nurul Huda has pointed out, as Mesa has pointed out, we have a broad consensus of religious authorities in places like the Al-Azhar, the Qarawiyyin in the Zaytuna in Tunisia, of the Fatwa councils in the Gulf, in Iran, a consensus that this is not the time to place ritual over human life,